From Mario to Master Chief,
That game is awesome.
8-bit to high def, the battle is on.
It's one team trying to beat the other team.
Heroes versus assassins.
Finish him. Finish him. Finish him.
And you're in the same chat room, you're in the same game, you're all playing with each other.
It's a blast because, you know, you get the little kids and, you know, you can hear them screaming at you, and then in the background their mom, you know, hey, come clean your room, blah, blah, and, you know, like, shut up, Mom. It's pretty funny.
I've tried with my 12-year-old and just get killed in 30 seconds in, but I'm gonna get to minute 2 at some point.
There's some kid in Ohio who's just awesome. You're like, how did you do that? You just sniped me from inside a trash can, man. What are you doing?
That's why I don't play multiplayer. They own you.
I own you, bitch. How old are you? 12.
There are games that transport you to unique, magical places. And then there are those games that send you to hell. You know, in a good way. At number 19, it's the devilishly entertaining hack-and-slash masterpiece, Diablo 2. Underworld-themed Diablo 2 hit PCs in 2000.
If you ever wanted a hand cramp, you should play Diablo 2. That game is an amazing example of how a normal person with a normal psychological makeup can become completely obsessive.
It's the kind of game that you go to sleep at night and you're thinking about it. You're thinking about the creatures you fought, the weaknesses they had, what strategies you're going to use tomorrow when you wake up, and it's just that type of game.
Diablo 2 became the loot lover's game of choice.
Clicking and getting loot. Clicking and getting loot.
Click, 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 click.
Clicking and getting loot.
Click, 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 click.
There's something very relaxing about sitting back and just kind of getting these monsters, getting the treasure, getting the monsters. You know, playing Diablo almost felt like a form of meditation.
Clicking and getting loot. So good.
At number 18, Miss Pac-Man.
You can't say you're a gamer and not know what Miss Pac-Man is.
Anybody with a bow in their hair rules.
But I have a Miss Pac-Man machine at my house. I'm just bragging. Now I'm just bragging.
It's a really charming story of Miss Pac-Man and Mr. Pac-Man. They meet and they have Pac babies.
You know, that's why people play Miss Pac-Man, right? The riveting story.
Released in 1982, Miss Pac-Man upgraded the original gameplay with 4 increasingly difficult mazes, moving bonus fruits, and solid, brightly colored walls.
All of us universally thought Miss Pac-Man was better than Pac-Man.
It doesn't hurt my masculinity to say Miss Pac-Man's better than Pac-Man. It is. It's a fact.
Better mazes, unpredictable ghosts, and let's be honest, Miss Pac-Man is just far sexier than her male counterpart.
Miss Pac-Man was, dare I say, hot?
I'm just gonna say Ms. Pac-Man is sexier. She's fresh, she's fun, she's presentational.
Miss Pac-Man implies that you got a shot with her, you know? It's not Mrs. Pac-Man. She's a sexy little yellow dot.
We're not so sure about that, but one thing is certain. Miss Pac-Man will always hold a special place in the hearts of gamers everywhere.
Miss Pac-Man was a game that my dad and I played together, and even to this day, sometimes I'll just get like a text from my dad, and it'll have a picture of like Miss Pac-Man screen. He'll be like, guess what I'm doing now?
Miss Pac-Man's a classic. That's a game I could play for a long, long time.
That's one of those games that'll never go away. It'll live forever.
Rushing into the number 17 spot on the countdown is Blizzard's strategy masterpiece, StarCraft.
I was just so addicted to those games.
Released in 1998, StarCraft dropped players into the middle of an intergalactic war between three very distinct races.
Our forces are under attack.
Crash! StarCraft revolutionized real-time strategy games and set a new bar for online multiplayer.
The more you play it, the better you get at it, but you're also playing against other people that are also getting better at it. And it feeds into the competitive nature of people. It feeds into, humans' desire to get better at things.
StarCraft has sold over 10 million copies since its release, making it one of the best-selling PC games of all time.
I had to actually uninstall it and break the disc because it was just taking up way too much of my practice time.
At number 16 is one of the most groundbreaking and immersive games ever released, Half-Life.
Half-Life is an incredible experience. I love the whole idea of you're in this entire different universe.
Released to critical acclaim and massive sales in 1998, Half-Life is the gold standard for a first-person shooting experience.
Half-Life was fun because it had that sci-fi element. Predictable phase arrays. They're killing those mutants and the weird zombies with crab heads, if I remember correctly, and pretty messed up game, but a lot of fun.
What the hell are these things?
But Half-Life was more than your usual first-person shooting gallery. The game's creators didn't include any animated cutscenes and instead moved the story along using scripted sequences.
Ah, Gordon, here you are.
As a result, the player remains fully immersed in the game by always seeing the world of Half-Life through Gordon Freeman's eyes.
That was the thing about that game that was mind-blowing. You were, for the first time, I think, really a part of the world, that the world interacted and looked back at you.
I am impressed.
Coming up next,
Everybody wanted to save Zelda.
the final 15.
It introduced a whole way of gaming that has never been played before.
Will Kong be king?
Anything that involves a plumber and a big gorilla, what's more fun than that?
Or will 007 take the gold?
Oh, I got the golden gun.
But first, which of the following is not a bonus item in Miss Pac-Man? The answer when the top 100 returns. Before the break, we asked, which of the following is not a bonus item in Miss Pac-Man? The answer, the pineapple. And now an arcade classic that helped launch an entire franchise and put Nintendo on the map.
The reason I'm able to continue this work, it all started with Donkey Kong.
At number 15, it's the 800-pound gorilla of video games, Donkey Kong.
Anything that involves a plumber and a big gorilla, what's more fun than that?
The now legendary Donkey Kong first hit arcades in 1981. This addictive platformer featured Mario in his first ever video game appearance as he attempted to rescue his girlfriend from the barrel-throwing ape.
No, I don't think Princess Peach getting kidnapped is funny at all. I think that's serious business, and you've got to take it seriously as a gamer. If you don't, you're just kind of leaving her to die at the hands of whatever Dark Lord or the monkey or the gorilla or whatever.
Tiny person who looks like a monkey running away from barrels after bigger monkey who has stolen girl.
That giant gorilla just took this girl I want to ask out. He climbed the top of this building I've been trying to build that's been a pain, and now he's throwing barrels that somehow hit that oil barrel that's on fire, and now they're fire barrels that somehow go up ladders.
He's a gorilla barrels. He throws the barrels, and it just perfectly, so he does a little spin.
There was the one that had the woo, boink, 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 woo. You know, it had the weird elevators and then the thing dropping.
If you actually make it all the way up to the top, you think, yay, I'm gonna rescue the princess. No, he comes and he takes the princess to the next level.
That's not an easy game. Like, you have to put some serious time in, and then you go right back to the beginning if you lose. That's pretty frustrating.
All frustration aside, Donkey Kong remains a singular piece of gaming history, as countless spin-offs, sequels, and imitators prove.
Nintendo wouldn't be as huge as it was if it wasn't for the original Donkey Kong.
And now a game that merged the cinematic thrills of a big-budget movie with the action of a video game. At number 14, it's the white-knuckle thrill ride, Uncharted 2: Among Thieves.
It's one of those games now where you get to control your own movie.
How's that look?
It's like, oh, I get to do Indiana Jones myself. Like, it's amazing.
It took Uncharted and just blew it out of the water in terms of adding so many more cinematic elements and so much more immersion with the way it told the story.
Released for the PlayStation 3 in 2009, Uncharted 2: Among Thieves tells the globe-trotting story of Nathan Drake and his quest to recover Marco Polo's lost treasure.
Quite the badass is the only way to describe Nathan Drake. He can kick, he can shoot, he can punch, he can hide behind a little ballast and come out, surprise a mofo.
The thing that jumps out the most to me about Nathan Drake is his upper body strength, because he's always climbing everywhere.
It's like you really feel like you're climbing on a cliff face. You do get caught up in the moment and you worry for your character when he's hanging off a ledge.
The PS3's cell processors were pushed to the limit to bring Nathan Drake's adventure to life.
The first thing is you wake up in a train. You're like, oh, what's going on? Hey, that's my blood. Then you realize that things are falling towards you because the train is off the cliff.
And you're hanging at the bottom with one hand trying to climb back up. The train's on fire.
And you got to claw your way out of the train as it's going to fall past you, and then you're not done because there's bad guys coming at you.
That's where the game starts. Like, what? Did I hit start wrong?
of the water in the frog suit.
It really was the Tanuki suit totally was the game changer for me in that, and just absolutely floored me.
3 was the game. When Mario started flying, it was sick.
Like, that was the coolest thing. Like, Super Mario had a raccoon tail, which for some reason was very exciting at the time.
You get to fly. I mean, come on. You're Super Mario and you're flying around the world, which is so cool.
With 18 million copies sold since its 1988 release, Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of the best-selling and most beloved games of all time.
I mean, Super Mario Bros. 3, I think, is the seminal, maybe the most important of the Mario games.
Super Mario Bros. 3, that's just a classic game.
Up next, a gaming legend.
Oh, The Legend of Zelda. Oh, my God.
Legend of Zelda is like a special game to me.
At number 6, it's the Nintendo classic, The Legend of Zelda.
Zelda is like another one of those games that's in history forever.
Because all these dudes wish they were running around with a weapon saving princesses.
Released in 1986 for the NES, The Legend of Zelda was a game changer for the industry and a favorite for gamers.
It was so sweet, and it was a hack and slash game, but sweet. And it had all these puzzles, and my wife and I played it so much at the time that it was crazy. And it was immersive.
I used to love it with that sword and the giant coins, the coins that are bigger than your body. That was exciting. And Zelda 2, the princess, she was so pretty, and you wanted to save her, this little green outfit, going into caves and getting magic potions.
The Legend of Zelda mixed a high fantasy adventure with some of the most memorable music and sound effects in gaming history.
The whole Zelda series is one of the most powerful Pavlovian audio experiences you can have in terms of just a little sound effects you hear that trigger crazy reactions in your body. The sound of collecting a rupee, it just probably makes people like salivate.
Us from Pakistan, so we also used rupees. The only difference is in Hyrule, there's fewer cars on fire.
Legend of Zelda was worth its weight in gold for Nintendo, spawning a series that has sold over 60 million copies.
I want to play it right now, actually. Just thinking about Legend of Zelda, it makes you want to play it.
Everybody wanted to save Zelda.
Coming up.
Oh, I love that game.
The Final 5 fight to be the top video game of all time.
It's insane how great that game was.
But first, Nintendo's Princess Zelda is named after which of these famous females? The answer after the break. Before the break, we asked, Nintendo's Princess Zelda is named after which of these famous females? The answer? The novelist Zelda Fitzgerald, wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald. Fitting snugly into our number 5 slot, that devious Russian brain teaser, Tetris.
People cannot forget the legendary Tetris.
Tetris I played a lot in college. That was my college game. I missed a lot of tests because of Tetris.
I had one of the original Game Boys. I played it constantly. It was very good.
Most obnoxious, getting stuck in your head music ever.
Yes.
Developed in the early 80s by a Russian programmer, it was Nintendo's Game Boy version released in 1989 that turned Tetris into a household name.
Tetris is absolutely the crack of video games. It's the most addictive video game of all time.
That was one of those games where I never wanted to own it because I just knew I'd be Jabba the Hutt size if I had Tetris.
Everybody at Broderman was playing Tetris. I stopped working on Prince of Persia for a couple of days just to try to beat everybody's high score.
It's not a great game to play if you have a little bit of obsessive compulsive tendencies.
Tetris is a game that invades your waking and your sleeping hours.
You're trying to sleep at night, and you just see those little stupid shapes coming down again and again.
I closed my eyes and I would see things coming down and I'd be arranging them. And I knew it was time to stop.
Stuff starts speeding up. It gets a little hot in my neck, especially when you start building up and things don't start falling into place.
Oh, that is not where I was supposed to go. Now there's a space. Ah! Pile it up, and then you drop the long one on the side.
You shove that post down in there, and 4 blink, blink, and they go away. Oh, so nice.
Once you get up in there and it starts making that like lamb noise, like, you remember that?
And to this day, I still think it is the most perfect handheld gaming experience.
They don't get much bigger than this one.
Oh, I love that game.
Coming in at number 4, Asteroids.
It's a great game. I remember playing it when I was, this big, in the arcade.
There was just
Like today, our games have graphics and awesome like sound engines, just so much going on. But you could have so much fun with basically just a little triangle on a screen.
And now one of the most haunting, atmospheric, and memorable video games in history. Charging in at number 3, BioShock.
BioShock was, oh, holy crap. This is amazing.
BioShock is one of the scariest games I've ever played.
It's insane how great that game was.
Released in 2007, BioShock takes players to an underwater utopia that has gone horribly wrong. But the city of Rapture is more than just a setting.
I mean, the world of Rapture was the main character of that game. And everyone you met in that world, you never knew what to expect.
We wanted to say, okay, we want to set this in a place that feels totally believable on its own right. Even here, we thought of an underwater city, and we came up with the notion of this failed utopia, and all the utopian ideals, sort of the ideals of the city, are represented visually in the look, the Art Deco look. And then when you see the water coming in, the cracks in the water coming in, on man's aspirations, you just have this great visual metaphor for the whole story of the game.
To survive in Rapture, a player must genetically evolve by injecting himself with plasmids that give superpowers.
I like that you could like accumulate all these different kind of powers and you could modify your body.
And he's jamming himself in the arm with this thing. And he's getting powers and shooting and killing people. I don't know what it's the scariest video game ever.
But these cool powers come at a hefty moral price. To modify your character, you must harvest the biological resource Adam from mutated children called little sisters.
Each of these little girls is protected by a giant Big Daddy. And the Big Daddies are terrifying. I mean, with the Big Daddy and Little Sister, there's sort of this wandering boss battle that moves to the level. And you choose
Nobody can beat Super Mario Bros. A cultural icon with more than 40 million copies sold, it launched the most successful franchise in gaming history and earned its place as the top video game of all time.
It was one of those games that I think no matter who you were, gamer or not, you see it and you know exactly who it is. And there aren't very many games that do that, where it's such a pop culture phenomenon. So that's why I would say Super Mario is my #1.
I think it got to be everybody's favorite. If there's not their favorite, they're lying.
It's clear that video games are part of the fabric of modern life. From the classics to whatever comes next. Everyone plays.
Everyone plays.
Everyone plays.
Everyone plays.
Everyone.
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 Everyone plays.
Who knows what the next 40 years of gaming innovation will hold? We can't wait to see which games rule the future.